Yes, sir. It is the link up -1. Agent Smith78 could not be here today. Salute to my brother, whatever he is, doing whatever he does. Gentlemen, how are you?
Chilling, bro.
Beautiful, beautiful. I was enjoying a beautiful Sunday in LA.
Yes, sir. I see the sun shining in back there, Creed. That
Oh,
looks
yeah.
good,
Creed
man.
look like he done got tanned up and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to get sunny, man. I'm out in these streets. These streets a little bit. I got a homie that won't let me stay home. So this day I had to chill and get some work done and link up with you brothers. But typically I'm out in the land.
That's a good thing, man. If you got somebody out there keeping you productive, though.
No, that's good. No, it's good to have people like that in your crew, man. What is the saying? Iron sharpens iron. You just gotta have those people around. Inspiring, keeping you on your toes too. A little competition. It's not even competition like you trying to beat somebody. It's competing with yourself, but you see, somebody doing something that's making you like, let me get up off my butt and be better than I was yesterday, because that's really what it is.
Yes, sir. That is it.
I was gonna ask you, Creed, what's like the hip hop scene looking like out there
Well,
nowadays?
oh, what happened on Friday? So I can't go anywhere without hearing Kendrick Lamar. I myself have been playing a lot. This is a really good album. Not even gonna front. LA is interesting because it's such a transplant city. So it's not like, oh, it's all West Coast. I mean, it's kind of who you around, what type of clique you in. I mean, now I feel like it's more vibey. Like everything is like very instrumental, vibey. Like every time we go out to places, everything is a little bit more generalized because they almost want to like appeal to everybody, especially like lounges and restaurants and stuff like that, bars. They kind of play a lot of everything. But hip
Right.
hop scene is just really eclectic. That's probably the best way to put it, which it always been like that out here, I feel like. So it's kind of like an evolution of the shit we saw with Black Eyed Peas, but then at the same time you got Game. The same time, it's the same shit. It's the same type of like super hip hop niggas, super gangster motherfuckers. I tend to listen to a lot of Larry June. He from the Bay. I like more laid back, chill stuff, but he not old. He like 30, so.
Right.
Just a little chill vibe. That's kind of the key, going back to what I was just saying. Vibe is like whatever is going to initiate the beach vibe, the chill vibe, everybody smoking weed, everybody, it's just a real relaxed kind of energy out here. So I think the hip hop scene reflects that. That's probably the best way.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting. This is what made me think of it is I was conversating with somebody, conversing. We was talking about Chicago's hip hop scene, what it used to be like and what it's like now. And everybody used to go up on North Avenue, Subterranean, check out some of the sets they had going on. It was what the Double Door was up there.
Yep, that's
You know what
gone.
I'm saying? What
Face.
else? There's quite a few little spots. You know what I'm saying? So like, I remember going and Mobb Deep was there. You know what I'm saying? It was, you know what I'm saying? Chicago's North Side had that thing going on. I would suspect it's probably still alive up there, but it's one of them things where it's kind of like dying slowly because the community's not as uh, intertwined in that way. Everybody's kind of, most of shit's gang related now. You know what I'm saying?
Like gang related stuff, that drill music is real prevalent in Chicago still.
Right.
Here, that's weird because Chief Keef lives here. I actually worked with some people in his camp. And now I think he probably at least 30, 31, 32 this point. So he hustling and being smart now. He ain't even really on nothing stupid. at all.
With all the shit that was happening with him, you gotta learn to chill the fuck out at some point.
That's part of having the right team.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You see, Lil Durk talked about it. He's like, yo, I can't move like that no more. I got people to take care of. I got shit to look at. I got business now.
Yeah. So they're older. It's nice to see them maturing. Maybe not musically, but at least in their moves. Because I mean, Durk's stuff here and there have a little bit more substance to it than it did probably when he was younger. But you know, as a whole, I can't really fool with a lot of them cats like that. I'll be trying, but I need to understand what you're saying a little, kind of. Don't make me feel that old, guys. Like, that's how they make me feel. So I'll be listening. I'm like, what are you saying, though? What are you saying?
I think that's by design, man. It's kind of it's disheartening, man, because there's so many dope artists out there that could really get off and represent. Because hip hop is the only genre that does that. You know what I'm saying? We age out our listeners, we age out our actual artists, and it's kind of like it's counterproductive because you can't really. That's not a sustainable model. You can't.
Well, it's evolved though, because I think because of our generation, especially, and probably like I say Generation X too, combined with that, they are making hip hop be something that is evolving into something that people older I still listen to. Like we are, because I knew when I heard Biggie on V103 that it was official that I was not in my 20s anymore, and I definitely was in my 30s because they never played rap music on that station. But
I'm gonna tell you why that's very niche.
Over.
I'll tell you why that's very niche. Because a lot of the oldie stations kind of just started adopting things based on the window of time, right? So you're gonna get a lot of rap in those playlists. However, most of the people who just regular listeners, they be listening to whatever the hell the young people be listening to in context of like Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion. I know a lot of fucking 40-something-year-old women be turned up some fucking Meg or some Cardi come on like they fucking 20 years old. And then the dudes be on, you know what I'm saying? They be listening to Fabio Foreign and shit like that. They still be want to still live out they gangster youth or whatever the fuck that is. But when you take somebody like a legacy act, like Snoop put out a dope album, you know what I'm saying? Back on Death Row.
Yeah.
Most of the people who you would expect to be listening to it
wasn't listening to it.
Even listening to it. The only thing they were listening to is that popular shit.
I can't, you know what, man? I can't even front. I listened to that album once or twice, and I didn't really go back to it. But I like other artists more. So that's not a fair comparison either. Because Nas, I know I listen to every album he put out multiple times.
You are a Nas fan.
Yeah,
but I'm a Snoop fan.
And that's what separates you from like common people.
With Snoop album in a way where I didn't get bored with Nas's album. And then it's not an age thing either, because you know my main person I listen to since I'm probably the past 10 or 12 years has been Currency, and he my age, he 40, you know, so it's like I like people that's my age still. I'm not trying to go back. However, the people that I like make music that sound very, very current. Like even to Snoop, you know, even though I listen to his album a ton, that album is probably one of his best albums in a long time. It's very current. The beats are good. He has some good guests on there. I think he has some young guys on there too, and that works. So, you know, I mean, people get to that stuff late. Like I like one of his albums he put out some years ago called Kush. He had Stevie Wonder on there.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Like R&B vibe to that. So
I like that album. That was a good album.
I just think like the quality of what artists are putting out is kind of like it's stifled by like them trying to, I mean, make obvious attempts at trying to like cross that line, and well, I won't even say cross the line, kind of like straddle that fence. So they want to appear current, but they don't want to sell out, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things. Cause some like me and Otha had this conversation. Like Snoop is probably the biggest rap star in the world. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like probably hands down most recognizable. You know what I'm saying? He really ain't compromised nothing because Snoop is Snoop. You see what I'm saying? And that's just in rap. But then you take anybody who don't have that level of notoriety and fame, can they really take the type of chances and risks that somebody like Snoop take? You know what I'm saying? For that opportunity to make the music that they really want to make or that their fans want to hear. Most of them can't. So what they end up trying to do is try to fit in so they can maintain, you know what I'm saying, budget, security with their labels and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's when they end up with them crazy features that you didn't expect to see on their album. You know what I'm saying? They start collaborating with producers you ain't expect them to collaborate with. They had to sell something so they could stay afloat because they got people that eat off of them too.
That's true.
Creed, why you got your phone turned that way? Or your camera?
Oh, I can turn it back the other way.
I was gonna get at you, boy. I saw the message in that.
Yeah, I sent him a message, so I didn't have to say it.
Oh, I didn't even see the message. That's why I was looking away from my phone. My fault.
Yeah, man. So
my bad. Well,
so
you're gonna get a letter in the mail with a bomb in it.
You cannot put your phone picture. It needs to be wide mode. I don't want
screen
portrait bullshit. Okay.
No, man. I need the landscape. Dog.
I want to see what that shit is. What's moving in the background?
He gonna get an email with some shit attached to it.
A virus in the email and shut all your shit down.
Hey, so we were having this conversation some days ago, a day ago, whatever. And I think partially why I had started this because I know this information, but I don't really talk about this because I can only talk about it around certain people, right? Mm-hmm. And when I brought it up to this person, they were saying, man, what would have happened if the government would have never bothered the civil rights movement or Marcus Garvey and things like that? What if J. Edgar Hoover would have just went after the FBI? I mean, after the Italian mob structure or the Klan, right? And I presented to them, I was like, did you know or have you ever heard of this history years ago that they were talking about where J. Edgar Hoover was in a brothel, and when he came out, he came out with a bunch of men. He's like, oh, that's some bullshit, man. People are always making up stuff. I said, well, there's a book about it. There's some articles that you could read, and there's some other information. Oh man, people are always making. I was like, guys, this is not made up. I was like, you can go to the mob and ask them, and they will let you know. They even have a couple of them have come out and said it already. It was like, yo, everyone knows that he would go to brothels and come out with men.
So basically,
there are pictures of him in women's clothing.
Yes, he's a cross dress.
That I knew about the cross dressing. I didn't know. Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. Right. But
like, I'm connecting dots, but not those two.
But no, it makes a ton of sense, especially the ferocity that he went at the black movements and stuff, because it was really to just take attention off of the shit that he really was on.
Yeah, there are articles about it. There are interviews with mobsters and everything.
But the whole time he was a pawn in the whole scheme of things, because these weren't all his ideas that he was executing. You know what I'm saying? You don't get that position and just have ultimate supreme power to make.
No, he was still
so he's making calls based on somebody else.
Yeah,
exactly. And the thing about it is, the one thing that a lot of people need to really be able to pinpoint is the fact that this was a biracial man that was doing all of this. You know what I'm saying? They granted that much power and access so that a black man by blood, based on their rule, a black man was able to take down some black shit.
Yep, because he was a black man that apparently didn't like himself.
Mm.
His grandfather, was it his dad or his grandfather and great grandfather were black?
I believe it was. Yep.
That's really interesting.
You hadn't heard of this, Creed?
I honestly, until a couple days ago, because I feel like you guys brought that up initially, I hadn't heard of that. I never heard of that.
Yeah, I had discussed it.
Actually mixed. That's so weird.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with someone and it was like, oh man, you always going too far. You going too far. I'm like, I'm not going nowhere, but to the information, the truth or the information that I've been privy to come across. And I was like, if you want to, there are articles. What's the young man's name, or the one of the OGs of the mob? Michael Franchise. He came out and he spoke on it. He was like, yeah, everybody knew that J. Edgar Hoover liked men. He said the whole mob knew it. He said, matter of fact, that's the reason why he left us alone, because we had his dirty secrets. He said we chased him away and he went after the black movement and he broke the shit down. It's what level of hate is that, man?
I tend not to even try to measure it because there's so many different examples that like self-hate that can go either. That could be an extreme for some people, but I know it's far more extreme cases than what he did. What he did was just shit. We see that shit happening in modern day now. So he ain't do nothing that, if anything, he just was an example of somebody in probably the highest executable role to actually do it in public. You know what I'm saying? We see that shit happening in sports. We see that shit happening in the music industry.
Yeah. Can we call what he did meritus manumission, aka snitching? Right? It's because in the 1600s, there was a form of it where, you know, the slaves would go tell the slave masters what the other slaves were doing and all the rallies and everything that they were getting together. And
I don't even think what he was doing was that, because I think he was more or less like, to be a snitch, you had to be on the inside working your way in and out, you know what I'm saying, sending information back and forth.
Very true.
He wasn't disguised with one of us. He wasn't chilling and kicking it with us like that.
He just hated us.
Like, I want you niggas out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I don't think people, for those
ultimate house nigga, he was house nigga supreme.
For those who understand, we're talking about a dude who was lighter than me and Carl, lighter than my older sister.
That nigga was so damn light, you could see his fucking vascular system at work.
And we're not saying that as in a European. We're saying that he was an African American or a biracial kid.
That nigga was light as fuck. That nigga, that's why he passed for white.
Yeah.
Right. But when now
the hair and all that.
Because when that was said, I kind of thought about it. I was like, his features, he looked like he have some black features in there though. Like, I was watching the last episode of Atlanta that was on, and it was kind of dealing with a character that basically could pass, but
dude, I posted
that nose, man. That was the only.
I posted on Facebook. I said this show is probably loosely based on J. Edgar Hoover in high school.
Might be.
No. I don't know what his experience was that took him over the edge to make him say, you know what, I gotta get these niggas out of here. But this is the type of shit that could happen in high school.
I think in that time, it was just so much easier to be white. I mean, it was like, it is now, but not like then. You know, like it was just like to the point where, it was so many people trying to pass back then if they was like, you know, compared to now, whereas I'm black and I'm proud and blah, 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 still have some resonance, you know, from, you know, the 70s or whatever, compared to prior to that, where it was like complete, I would prefer not to be black if I could type energy. I feel like I'm just saying, like, if you get beat upside the head just coming outside the house, I get it, you know.
Wake up every morning mad.
Right. Fuck, black ass thing. God damn it. Shit.
Wide nose, sucking up the white man's air.
Motherfucker waking up. I'm telling you, that's why I said what I said earlier about the whole Malcolm X and Martin Luther King shit. Like how, like there's a whole subset of Black Americans who did not fuck with that movement, and they're still alive today.
Yes, sir.
Because they kept their head down. They're like, you know what, these niggas ain't doing nothing but stirring up shit. Now I got to deal with these crackers at work, and I don't want to hear their mouth because these crackers is bothered by the presence and the existence of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and whoever the hell
if they see me, they gonna ask me questions about it and all this shit.
Have I heard anything? Like it's a fucking like we got a chainmail going on and shit.
We can only, I guess, hypothesize and theorize, right? Do you think that J. Edgar Hoover could have been bullied, and that was his reason? That was his way of getting back.
He might have been privileged. He might have just been. His family probably been well off, and he was meant for that role.
Yeah, because I don't think that he grew up like a Black person and there was bullied because he looked white. I don't think he grew up around no Black
super villain's origin story.
Right, yeah. I don't think he was around no Black people. I feel like that was what made it easier for him to disconnect, to do all the bullshit that he ended up doing to Black people as a whole. Because if you grew up around them at all, to the extent of what he did, like it would be like, man, you got to be complete sociopath. I don't think he literally grew up with them. I think it was easy for him to disconnect and be like, well, my life is better because I'm living as a white man. If
I can't see what these niggas over here mad about.
Right. It's better than it used to be or whatever, because
that's the same type of talking points you hear now, you know what I'm saying, on social media and shit like that. People be saying similar shit. So
but
I wouldn't be surprised if that didn't exist back then.
Live that way and never live that hard life, then it's easy for them to have that bullshit ass mentality too. Yep. You know?
Absolutely.
Because these kids sometimes, like, people. The other day I was at work and somebody said something so goofy, and it wasn't even racial. It was just goofy in general. And I just looked at them and I was like, you was born between 1997 and 2000, wasn't you? And they was like, 2000? I was like, yep, there you go. Because it's just, they don't.
The lack of,
I hate to say
the lack of
like,
context. They don't have information.
They don't have
like they
context
think they do.
Because when we were that age, we still had to read. We still had to do certain shit to where I think across the board, and it sucks because we had less access to shit that they do.
Yeah,
they could Google anything and find out.
And they choose
not to know. Like, we had to go to the library just to go find out some shit. I know you had to go into a building. I know your ass was in the library trying to find out the shit they want to try to teach you in school too, because that's how I was.
All the time.
Sitting there reading that motherfucker.
Reading encyclopedias and all this other shit, just digging in deep.
Remember those encyclopedias? Those don't even exist no
kids
more.
These days, man, they on some old, I saw a meme, so it must be true shit. That's what they on. Like, I saw it in a meme, so it gotta be true.
And they will base their whole life on a meme.
Mm-hmm. It had Denzel Washington from Training Day on the meme. And because he looked so serious, I knew it was real. Or you know what I'm saying?
And they will base their whole life.
It was a Jim Carrey quote. I know Jim Carrey said. It sounded like something Jim Carrey would say. What movie do you know Jim Carrey from? I don't know. I ain't old enough to know.
Right, because he ain't made no movie for their ass in so long. Like, they gonna say Sonic.
You know what I mean? Maybe Eternal Sunshine. Maybe.
Nah, that's too old. That's too old now. They was toddlers and couldn't watch it because it was rated R.
It was too deep.
They was 5 years old at that point, weren't they?
Damn, man, it's crazy that, like, thinking about, and I mean, for me more so because I don't have any kids, but like, the years that we was running around just kicking up dust in the early 2000s when we was young, like it's whole ass people that was born then that now we dealing with now.
And they got opinions.
Ridiculous.
And they got opinions.
And their opinion is based on everything being able to get dropped in your lap as soon as you fucking want it. They had computer everything from day one. They don't
even know a life without a motherfucking smartphone.
Man,
they don't even understand what life was like with a flip phone.
That's crazy. Because think about it. The first real smartphones came out in maybe like the mid 2000s, so maybe 2005, 4. Because I think I had a sidekick in 2006 or something like that. And that was a smartphone.
He had a sidekick.
Yeah, I had a couple sidekicks.
I remember that shit, man. That's crazy.
Nigga. I had two.
That's like, and it was crazy. It's like if you had a BlackBerry, phone. The BlackBerry at the time was the iPhone of the time.
This motherfucker got me on the BlackBerry.
Yes, I love my BlackBerry.
I love that fucking phone. I was doing all type of trapping on that phone.
Telling you.
Woo.
The BlackBerry was the be on the
BlackBerry Messenger.
Yes, sir.
These kids won't even understand.
Yo, we was doing all type of shit with them phones, man. Yo, that was a great era of the phone, of the BlackBerry. And then you moved on to the iPhone, right? And then I got one later.
I got an iPhone on the 5. I think so. That was in like 11 or 12 or some shit.
Oh, so I was ahead then because I had one early on.
I think you might have had one before me, but you was weird and you had 2 phones for some reason for the longest. I think you still might because you were damn anyway. You like, don't be telling my business. Podcast.
No, it's cool. Talk your shit. No, I still have 2 phones for those who are listening. I still have 2 phones. I have an iPhone and I have a Droid.
So I think because of that, I didn't even realize you had an iPhone at first because I was just interacting with your Droid number at first. And then I got an iPhone and then your shit started coming up blue on there. And I was just like, all right.
I caught up with technology. I figured out what to do and how to do it.
Mm-hmm. I like iPhones because of their simplicity and the complexity of my life. I need something that just works without me modifying a bunch of shit or doing this or that. It's just very intuitive, and same for they computers and stuff. So I'm pro Apple.
Yeah, I understand. I like both of them though. With the Droid, I get to like a lot of the videos y'all see me post. That comes from me using a Droid. That comes from me going into the app or going into the camera, whatever it is, and the photos and all that, and putting the shit together and putting the stuff out. It comes from the Droid. Like I can't necessarily do that with my iPhone unless I download a bunch of extra shit.
But it's like the native stuff can do certain things easier, basically. Okay.
Yeah, I go on there.
It's just crazy though, like how that conversation is what it is, but the whole time both of them share tech.
They do.
Oh yeah. Because Samsung
like,
supply Apple with tons of crap.
They make the camera for the iPhone. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. It's wild to me because like from a consumer's perspective, people who aren't necessarily having this conversation is more. It's not even based on anything other than like just the tangibility of saying I got what I prefer. You know what I'm saying? Versus somebody who has a technical application that they rely on to make their purchase worth it.
Yeah, exactly. The stupid conversation that bothers me about it is when they say, "Oh, you broke if you ain't got no iPhone." It's like, what?
Because those Androids be pretty expensive if you get certain ones. If you want one with all the same features the iPhone get, you gonna maybe save $100, maybe.
It's just like $1,200.
Right. So it's the same as their iPhone. So it just depends on what you want. And I know for me, I like the camera shit to work real smooth and easy. I like the video aspect. All of that for me is cool. You know, it work simple.
I mean, and it fits well with what you got going on too. I think that's
right.
that's what
Everything. I got an
ecosystem.
iPad. I got a fucking Mac
Studio,
all this bullshit. So it's like,
hell, I even let you hold the Galaxy one time. I was like, look, what is all this stuff? And you was like, no, this goes like that. Keep this right here. And I left it alone. I never changed it after that. He's like, no, this is your white balance. This is 4K. You don't need that. Keep this over here. And
yeah. Oh yeah,
like
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once because the camera is a camera. Once I was like in the little center, like, oh, okay, this is that, you know. So if I needed to go back to that or switch to that, like that's probably what I would go Samsung. I feel like they probably make the best Android phones.
Man, that shit.
I haven't seen nobody really compete with them as far as
it's dope.
Yeah,
like,
it's dope.
The next one down would probably be an LG, but Samsung is like really like king of the hill. Like,
okay,
I've been having a Note since I left BlackBerry.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And that's probably like, to me, is like just walking around with a fucking computer in my pocket.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The only thing about the LG phones is that, at least from my experience, because I had one of those too, is that the battery would burn out real bad. When you're using it, it would just burn out. Like with this Galaxy, I rarely ever have an issue unless I'm like working. Like if you see me posting a bunch of shit on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you know that I'm working and you know that I'm burning up that battery. All right. My next question to you guys is this. Do you guys have a line of disrespect that people can cross?
You know what? Something just happened recently. So now I know what it is. I might not have been able to answer this question as easily, but I think for me, if I'm passionate about something and somebody questions me in that moment of me being passionate about a thing, say it's something having to do with my craft, my art, something like that, and the critique is not based in any validity, is very like opinion based. It's not like, oh, this could be better if you did XYZ because of this, and that, like giving me reason. If it's just like, oh, I don't like this, it's like, but if you don't know how to do what I do, then I'm really looking at you sideways, because it's like, to critique something somebody's doing and not be able to do it yourself and not have anything to back up what you're saying, you basically just look stupid. So that's for me. Yeah.
No, let them finish.
Yeah, that's for me. Like a disrespectful thing for me is to like question my ability and like not trust my ability when you've seen it over and over again. I think that's probably like in a nutshell what I'm trying to say.
So let me figure out how to phrase this. So a person not understanding the mechanics of what it is they're critiquing their opinion is invalid.
If, to me, unless you curate something on that level and you can really give me a point by point reason of your critique. If it's just like, I don't like this and it's very opiniony, it's not like anything based in any concrete standard, I'm gonna look at you weird, especially if you can't do what I do.
I feel you.
So
I was just asking because I kind of view it from a different perspective. I view it like, I don't know what anybody's experience is and whatever it is they're critiquing me on, so I don't care either way. You know what I'm saying? Like if a person tell me they don't like a piece of music I created, if they tell me they love it, you know what I'm saying? Because where I view it is like, I don't know how far back their experience goes in it. All I know is they're just giving me their point of view. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna ever have the conversation of, so tell me how you know anything about this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm just not gonna have that conversation. If they want to talk about it, then that's fine. But if we never had that conversation, I'm just gonna assume it can go either way. But yeah, for me, my line of you say acceptable disrespect.
Yeah, what's the line of disrespect that people can cross? That's a violation.
With me, it could go. It could be anything, bro. Because I'm just so the way I am. It's like I'm constantly listening for tone and reason, all of this shit. I'm like when I'm having conversation with people, when I'm watching them approach me, all of that shit. I'm like always. It ain't that I'm apprehensive about disrespect because I don't really give a fuck like that. But I'm never gonna assume that it's a threat right off the bat, but I'm gonna always be like ready just in case because sometimes people just be disrespectful for the sake of it nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You could be in the fucking grocery store and work in the fucking the self checkout, and the security guard come up and want to try to help you. You know what I'm saying? I might look at that like, what the fuck you helping me for?
I think for me, it's family. Once you start harping on family, the same way the whole Chris Paul. And only breed. That's the reason why I bring it up. The Chris Paul situation where the guys were in the stands, right? Chris Paul said it, Shaq said it, and Chuck said it. Disrespecting me or my family or putting your hands on my family. That's the line for me. And I totally agree. Once we get to that, I'm not letting you walk back across that line. I'm not letting you walk back across because I owe you now. I owe you. You didn't have to bother them at all at any point in time. All your anger and frustrations could have been geared toward me, and we could have dealt with that. But once it gets to disrespecting the family or putting your hands on the family, we're done. We're done. I owe you an ass whooping.
It would be nice to believe that should go without saying, but we live in a completely different time where certain people ain't raised. I won't even say wasn't raised to be that way, but some people people are like 100% apathetic now. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of like come in gloves off, just feel like they should be able to say and do anything they want to say and do without any type of repercussions. But some people just need to be punched in their face.
You know, yes.
And yes. Mike Tyson exhibited that. And he let motherfuckers know, y'all keep crossing these fucking lines like they don't exist. And some of y'all just need to be punched in y'all fucking face. I see people do that shit all the time. It's like, I know no one's ever done you no harm because of the way you carry on.
And the crazy part about it is it's like it's easy. It's easy to feel like, you know what I'm saying, you the king of the hill. You to get to say whatever the fuck you want to say, whatever, when you're in the safety of a bubble. But when that bubble break, you know what I mean? What happens? You know what I'm saying? When Chris Paul break the fourth wall on your ass, then what? You know what I mean? Like you went from a spectator to being interactively punched in the mouth. You know what I mean? Like the game is over, bro. You can't.
They be getting it twisted. Like people are these damn like little characters they play in these commercials. Because Chris Paul looks like a very pleasant,
nice
black man on his little State Farm commercials. But if you ask anybody who play in the NBA, they will tell you he be talking the most shit. He's kind of a dickhead. Like he ain't the one. So
Michael Jordan was perceived as being the most easily approachable guy. When Jordan was in his prime, people viewed him as such the nice guy, the most approachable guy. And now the biggest conversation is how big of a dick he was to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like you cannot assume nothing about these people, man. I agree with the family thing, bro. It's like,
yeah, I agree.
Because especially like when you put your life in front of it all, so you can be the breadwinner or you can be the one that help. You know what I'm saying? You doing this for them. You know what I'm saying? They vulnerable to you. They vulnerable to all your abuse, to all the things that come through you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The abuse that's meant for you, all the criticism and shit. They ain't supposed to absorb none of that. They ain't never supposed to come out. And then you got somebody in the crowd decided, hey, here's an easy target. This will get a reaction out of him so I can go viral.
Yeah. And then a situation with Mike Tyson, right? Where the guy continues to bother him. Mike shakes his hand, gives him a dap or whatever it was that happened, whatever the exchange was. Then Mike proceeds to sit back down and mind his business. He takes some shrooms. I think he offered the guy some shrooms and told the dude to chill out. Yo, my man, just chill out. Sit in your seat and chill out. And next thing you know, Mike is slapping this guy around in his seat. And I tell people all the time, they say, oh, Mike didn't have to do that. I was like, you know what? Some people don't understand what it is to cross a line of disrespect. They never understood what that was.
They've done it. So sometimes you got to let them know they did it.
And that's all it is. And I say, man, Six, we had this conversation over and over again. You guys know I have a line. If you have crossed that line, trust me, at some point, I'm gonna get you. You just don't know it yet. I'm gonna get you. You just don't know it. Like you're across the line, and I'm gonna keep you there. And you're not gonna be able to walk back across. You can't continue to disrespect people and think nothing will ever happen to you. Mm-hmm. That's not the way this shit works. And I get it, Six, I get it. We come from a different breed. We come from a different type of, a different generation, a different cloth, if you will, a different fabric that's very rare out here. But dude, you can't just be out here, what one man said, an entertainer said. You can't be out here all willy-nilly just saying whatever the fuck you want out your mouth.
No, all that shit.
People respond to that shit differently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And this is why, like, the big conversation about comedians saying what they want to say and move how they want to move is such a topic, because on both ends you have people who just don't get it.
They don't, bro. And that's just, it's crazy. Like, where do we get to? How do you get to the point where people think that it's okay to lash out at people verbally, or it's okay to run on stage when people are doing comedy sets or whatever? None of this shit is cool.
No.
None of this shit is cool. And people don't get it. Like, you are violating my space by doing this. You are violating. And because you are violating, now you are giving me the access and the say so to put you back in a place where you need to be.
Yeah, so
the whole situation was funny style, because it's like, you know, who has the right to go up on stage and smack? It's so many times comedians said worse shit than Chris Rock said and did not get hit in the damn mouth.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like
Or the other one, the Dave Chappelle shit. Like, why are you guys?
That was ridiculous. What? And I was so disappointed when I saw that was a black person. I was like, bruh, like, what is you doing, man?
Like, that's the homogenization. They've homogenized all of these different travels of thought, all these different patterns of thought that people, because these conversations are all happening in real time, right? So he identified with something that made him feel like clout was the best path to whatever outcome he was trying to get. You see what I'm saying? These types of things happen because everybody's having these clustered fucking conversations. Nobody having no real, nobody speaking no truth. No accountability is being added. You know what I'm saying? If you don't agree with somebody talking points, call them, let them know, like, look, this is a conversation. This conversation we having, this is how I feel about it. Let's talk about it. Instead, people are saying, well, you don't agree with me. You're wrong. You're blocked. We're gonna kick you out the room. We're gonna blah blah blah. You see what I'm saying? Nobody's ever actually just listening to anything that they don't agree with to figure out why they don't agree with it.
You're canceled. You're canceled.
Bang, took the words out of my mouth, man. Cancel culture. You know what's interesting, and just to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, Six, people have been canceling people out of their life since this social media explosion, kind of before it was happening publicly. That's why it started happening publicly, because it was already happening on a smaller scale. So and the
like-minded people decided, hey, this is how we handle this. Again, that's another echo chamber. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't subscribe to cancel culture. I never look at somebody and say, we need to get him the fuck out of here. That has never been my thing. So therefore, I'll probably never be privy to those conversations in those groups, in those rooms, right? But there's whole groups on Facebook dedicated to that. Like, what's that page? Is this your man, sis? Where chicks be airing out niggas that they meet and finding out whether or not this nigga got a chick at the crib.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole thing. So they
I did not know
basically saying,
that. Wow.
and let's say this nigga really ain't with this chick, but this chick already got it out for him. So she gonna say, yeah, that's my man. And fuck up his whole reputation online. This is, you know what I'm saying? And that's just on that scale.
That's what Johnny Depp dealing with. And look where this is going. It's a whole ridiculous
it's crazy where
trial,
we at right now.
but
we live in a very strange time in terms of the way we use this technology. Like, well, imagine this technology being like a gift handed down by some our future selves. We decided to like try to advance our society by passing down social media. We're like, you know what, this will get us where we need to be. And they passed it down the wrong timeline. They passed it down to the wrong fucking dimension and gave it to the dumb fucks. All we want to do is share porn and drag each other. That's it. We're using social media for memes, liquor recipes, and TikToks.
Instead of that advancement.
Right. Nothing useful. You would think that all these motherfucking brilliant minds would come together on social media and there'd be at least 20 groups all about how to break the chains of fucking the federal government being in your business. Instead, we give them more reason to be in our business.
more food reservoirs, you know, getting rid of food deserts in the Black community. Nothing like that.
Nothing like that. We don't be like, hey, you want to get off welfare? Here's ways to get off welfare. You ain't never got an answer to the government again. No, never that. All you see now is motherfuckers posting, hey, HUD is holding an open house for people who looking for a place to stay. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck?
All you gotta do is have your cousin come down there and limp on one leg like he got something wrong and he might motherfucker got a bunch of motherfuckers down in the line, like
I mean, hit him in his solar plexus, and when he go down there, he'll fit right in. He get that check.
Shit is crazy, man. And
yeah, man, it's like, and they perpetuate. People don't realize it either because they so used to that cycle, and it's all like it's subliminal in a way. So people perpetuate the very thing that's holding them back and never really pay attention to all the cues that's showing them that it's a trap. So they just all they do is just keep on feeding that same misinformation to their kids and their grandkids, and they become deeper and deeper in that generational cycle of
idiocracy.
But then they want to call it generational curses. It ain't no curse, bro. This ain't spiritual. This is just common sense. What you're doing right now is just laziness. It's pure laziness. You've been taught to be lazy. You know what I mean? It go deeper than just bad education at this point, because your first bit of education come from home. Like, believe it or not, the first things you learn from home.
Yeah.
So you can blame the school system, but the motherfucker
somebody is supposed to be raising your ass, though.
Yeah, exactly. That motherfucker supposed to be checking your homework, supposed to be asking questions about the assignments. That's how you know that the assignments, these motherfuckers getting taught anything, because they come home and the parents never even fucking question the assignments no more. You know why? Because the parents ain't even checking the homework. The parents ain't looking at it. They don't even want to be bothered.
Do y'all remember our social network growing up? Y'all remember that shit? In order for me to go hang out with Six and Creed, my mom had to come and see your mom.
Conversations had to be had.
Boy.
They had to know each other. And then from those conversations, from there, your mom, my mom, your mom could decide on if we were good, if the parents were decent enough to let the kids run in that circle.
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't even have that shit.
Nope.
And the crazy part is when I go to meet like different people that are hanging out with like nieces or nephews or kids that I consider nieces and nephews, when I do that, they're offended. They're like, why you all in my business? I'm not all in your business, baby. I want to know who these young men and women are hanging around. Like I want to know. I want to know look, I get up and I go to work. I want to know who y'all are and what y'all do all day. You know what I mean? Well, I ain't working right now. I ain't been working for such and such. And that's fine. I just need to know who my family, my relatives are hanging around. That's all I want to know.
I might be able to save your life. You might tell me who they are, show me who they are, and I might know something about them you didn't know.
You know, there may be a job that I could help you get or something like that. You never know, but our social network is totally different from the one they have now, or the lack thereof. Here's another question I have. Would the person you were as a teenager be the person that could they be proud of the person you are now? Would they be proud of the person you are now? Or that too far?
So. I think so. I mean, I'm doing that I said that I was gonna do then, so I think that helps.
I think my younger self would be impressed with me.
I think so too. I think myself would be able to hug like, yo, I trust this dude right here. I can trust this guy.
Yeah. And my younger self would be like, would look at like the man I am, the father I am, all of that shit, and then kind of like at least have some sort of confidence moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, my life didn't turn out all shitty.
Like I could trust this version of myself with my younger self. Like this is like, all right, this dude, the guy I am now. Like, look, this is what you need to do to make sure that you're successful. Mm-hmm. This is everything.
And I would have that honest conversation. Like, this is what, before you feel too impressed with me, this is where I fucked up. This is what not to do. This is what to look out for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You agree, Creed?
Oh, same. Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of the things that I had in my mind that I wanted to try to do and accomplish, I'm either in process or accomplish some of those things. And then, like Six was saying, I definitely would be like, yo, try to not do this or that. You know, it's always pitfalls you can avoid and be better. But as a whole, I feel good. No, I feel good. And I feel good about the person I am and how my younger self will feel about me. So
I am too, man. I really, really am.
And I'm pretty hard on myself typically.
I am too.
So that right there says a lot to actually ask that question and make me look back like, you know, I've always been tough on myself. So to see, you know,
that's the reason why I said, because I always think back like, could the younger version of you be proud of who you are now? Mm-hmm. I know you're proud of yourself right now, but in the moment of thinking back, the things that you needed as a kid, would this version of you be able to help?
Right.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think it's interesting, though, because a lot of people don't have that level of self-reflection. They can't really look at themselves in that perspective and have an honest conversation about it, because a lot of people are afraid to look weak. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to always like, I had to really, when you asked that question, I had to really think about like my ups and my downs. You know what I'm saying? My losses and my gains and shit like that, and just had to really be honest about it. I'm like, you know what? Shit ain't bad at all. And like where I, you know what I'm saying, as many times I done stumbled in life and where I landed, a lot of people can't really say that about themselves because they're not willing to hold the mirror up and just really be honest about decisions they made, or you know what I'm saying, where they are in life. Some people, and I kind of think from a just being pragmatic about it, a lot of people just are more geared towards like getting that dopamine release. They got to feel good about something. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to just saying, you know what, I got a lot I could still work on. I'm pretty proud of where I'm at, but I got a lot to work on. A lot of people ain't gonna say I got a lot to work on. That's
I got a lot to work on.
Ain't nobody perfect. No, that old shit.
No, I got a lot to work on. But the part of me, and I would go if I could talk to a younger version, and that's why I always try to, when I do talk to the young men and women, I always say, don't lose the I don't give a fuck attitude. Right. Just apply it to something that you're trying to be successful at, and keep that. Let that fire burn through your inspiration to do better and be better and achieve goals. Don't lose that. Keep it for that. Right. But just to walk around every day, I don't give a fuck, and not ever apply yourself and not ever care. Like, don't do that. Be responsible, be accountable, but use that shield of I don't give a fuck to get you to where you're going, because it helps them, but it doesn't help to just be a reckless human being out here just doing all type of crazy shit. And and again, that's the reason why I asked you guys that, because I know I'm a reflective person. I think you guys know that. I also the person I am now is more chiseled and a better shaped person, a more equipped person than the guy that would probably crush a lot of these people's ears together a few years ago, you know. So from getting to that point to where
it's dark outside.
Oh yeah, and it still will. It still will. Salute to my cousin. Salute to my cousin Ryan and Dakota, who had to talk me off the bridge not too long ago, because the shit was going to get real nasty. It was going to get real nasty. But so I think 6 know about it too. But it was gonna get bad. It was gonna get bad. But to be able to realize, like, dude, I'm doing this to a person that's probably a punk. Because the fact that you're pushing the wrong buttons and you have no idea that this is about to go bad for you and not me, like, you have no level of understanding and awareness. So I'm appreciative of the moments where I can sit back and go, yo, you so much better than where you were, because you would have hit that guy, he would have hit the bar, passed out, and probably died.
Patience and wisdom in getting older. That's all.
Yeah.
Actually, just having that clarity of thought to be able to discern whether or not it's even worth the time. You know what I'm saying? We used to be so impulsive when we were younger. You know what I'm saying? We kind of start weighing a lot of things, especially taking a few L's in life, or not even necessarily taking L's, but like really facing some challenges in life make you a little bit more self-reflective. Kind of make you just start looking at things, becoming more self-aware, and like, you know what? I know me. I know how I handle these types of situations. It hasn't been the most healthy. Let me fall back.
And I'm having enough patience just to make sure that I can get up out of here. Because if I don't, I'll feel like I'm backed into a corner. And once I feel like I'm backed into a corner, I strike out. I'm a goddamn Gaboon Viper. I'm a goddamn Gaboon Viper on the African forest floor, and you can't see what's about to happen to you. I'm about to fuck you up.
Put an end to a lot of these motherfuckers real quick. Very quick.
6 and I don't think they be getting that. Like, yo, you're one punch away from destruction. One punch away.
Though. Yes.
One Punch Man. Have you seen that one? Every time I see that, it made me think of you. He a little ball. I'll be like, that's mad ass. Get his ass mad. He just fucking punched you one time. It'd be it.
God bless us though, man. That the version of me that was and it wasn't just one punch. Like, it was the punch that followed after that was even worse. You know, but I did start watching that, but other shit started coming up, so I got away from One Punch Man. But it was decent from what I was seeing. Motherfucker worked out so much until he was able to throw one punch and hurt motherfuckers that bad. I was like, God damn.
That's OP as hell. He OP as hell. That nigga OP as hell.
I was like, oh shit. I was like, and a nigga ball. Okay, cool.
You're like, nigga, like what kind of fight do you have with a nigga that can do that?
None.
Like, and you look like a pussy, you bring a gun though.
But that's why, again, if people would just shut the fuck up and mind their business, because what are you gonna do when a dude like that hits you and he jars your rib cage and your spine? Yeah,
that's it. One Punch Man.
All right, one punch. If it's two punches and he ain't doing as good as he's supposed to.
Well, what if it is two punches?
Punch is just to make you die or some
that's
shit.
Just seasoning. That's extra seasoning. That's all.
Right.
It's just because you still standing there. You don't know that you did.
See, that's how you know One Punch Man is not black. Because if it was a black, it'd be Two Punch Man. Because the second punch would just be for good measure.
Sauce. That shit would be sauce. I would be Two Punch Man. The first one is gonna get you out of it. The next one is just me adding some flavor to that bitch. But I had another question for you guys and I forgot it. I forgot it. It happens though. The conversation is going well.
Mm-hmm.
Are there lessons that you guys learned from music? Did the hip hop music that you guys listen to teach you guys anything?
So many.
As long as you got something that you learned from it, because A lot of times they think that all the music we listen to is we just be trapping and throwing
Well,
bags
I
of money.
feel like our generation, especially, definitely. I mean, shit. One of the first songs I thought of when you asked us that rather was Scarface. Never seen a man cry till I seen a man die. Like that song was so real from a standpoint of like not glorifying the game like they always try to do. You know, it's just like, oh, we out here hustling. Like, no. This is how it actually goes, you know, and that was a song that came out when I was pretty young. Not that I was wanting to be out there trapping and dapping and all of that stuff, but just to even have cautionary tales that were legitimate, not just like some fluff. Like it was real. It was like, yo, this is how it go down. Not no down with dope bullshit, you know, whatever stuff, but just like what it really is. And you can make your decisions based on giving the information on what it is. But that, I mean, shoot, so many lessons. I've learned about historical things and looked them up because somebody's mentioned something in the line. Like Nas was one of those guys.
Like the Greeks in Egypt learning something deep from their teachers.
From their teachers. Gangstar, I know you don't like Google, but he just said stuff that made me have to go and look up something here and there too. I mean, it's just, you know, a lot of older brothers trying to impart some knowledge to they know younger brothers listening to them, and that's something I feel that's missing in this generation hip hop a big way, because even guys who was 21, 22, 23 understood that it was somebody 12 that was listening to what they were saying, and they needed to give him something and not just, you know, candy as it is, you know, give them some actual substance to work with. Like Tribe, oh my God, like we was blessed, man.
Yeah, I remember listening to a lot of BDP, Public Enemy.
Yo.
I remember first time really just listening to Black Steel in a Moment of Chaos and listening to Can't Trust It, and you know what I'm saying, all these different records that kind of had this heavy impact to them. You know what I'm saying? Hell, when Cube used to do a lot of writing for NWA, that was when they was putting out their conscious records and shit.
Yep.
And I remember like having an actual perspective like on male female relationships based on I Ain't the One. And I was, you know what I'm saying, back then, you know what I'm saying, you're a young buck, you ain't thinking about girls like that. And
I ain't the one. I'm sorry, keep going.
And when he started talking, and as an adult, I started looking at it like, you know what? I get it. I get it. I see where you're coming from with it now. It's like it was almost like predictive, because women back then weren't nearly as hypergamous as they are now. So they kind of have a different context. And then I was like thinking about other songs I was listening to back then, man. Like songs that just kind of like gave me some context as to why the hood was the way it was. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, nowadays, if it does exist for the younger crowd, because most of these records ain't made for us, they go back to what we were talking about earlier. It ain't as many as we had back then. We had tons of them back then.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you got like on the mainstream level, you got maybe 2 of them, 3 of them. And then like, I don't know what the underground look like in that context, because all I ever hear about is the drill shit or you know what I'm saying? I don't really hear too much about like the Earth gangs and shit like that, really putting out records like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a few. I mean, it's always gonna be like that sub culture of something with some substance, but it's been far too long that that's like a subculture and not the main thing. Mention the Tribe De La Soul, which early 90s was kind of the last time that was in the forefront of what hip hop is. Like everything since then been some type of gangster element weaved into it. There's been a couple exceptions. Kanye was somebody that love him or hate him, he created a lane for people to not be that anymore, which was good. So I think a lot of good music came from that out of other artists too. So, oh damn, it looked like the
Hey, don't mention it. Don't you do that. Don't age the episode. Don't age it. I know what you was about to do. Don't age the episode. Don't you age it.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks bad, but don't age it. I was looking at that too. Yeah. My other question is Dead Prez' first album a classic to you guys?
Not for me.
I think it is. It's a really solid album, like real solid for that time.
Speak on that, Six. Speak on that. Why it's not?
I never really gave it a whole lot of spin. I listened to certain songs off of it. It was so much music that I was listening to, and I was actually in the midst of like creating a whole bunch of different stuff back when they dropped their first album. So I listened to them, but I wasn't vibing with them too heavy. I liked a lot of what they did, but I wasn't like they weren't in my range of view when I was listening to music back then. I was like heavily creating back then.
I could see that. That was a 99, 2000 album. But let me say this, the Animal and Man off that album was dope.
That was one of the main songs I was thinking of because everybody thinking like hip hop, like whatever. But like the joints that was on the album, like what was the other one? Mind Sex was crazy. Like they had some jams on there.
Yeah, they had some dope ass songs. Police State. That whole album was crazy. And in the last couple cuts that were like way number 44, number 45 were dope cuts too. So they had some really what was the other one? Oh yeah, and I said Animal and Man. Be Healthy was another one that they had on there.
That's good. Yeah.
I don't eat no meat, no dairy, no sweets. Like though, I think that was a 6 man. Go back and listen to that, man. If you get a chance.
I probably will, but I don't be listening to too much music anyway nowadays, man. I just be like, I just be in my own little zone, in my own little bubble. I had to keep my mind clean and clear when it comes to like creating. Otherwise, I'll go down the wormhole and won't create shit.
I hear you, but I think this is more like the soul food that'll stick to you, you know.
And it's old, so it's like revisiting, and that was kind of like the beauty of kind of the glutton of good music that we had back then. Like we could go back and listen to stuff that we missed and rediscover stuff. Because what was I listening to? I think I was listening to an OC album or something. I was like, damn, that nigga was cold as hell. I didn't even get a chance because it was everybody was dropping like Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt, and this, and then it's like, who was this guy? Okay, I guess y'all get to it, and you never do it. 10 years, 15, 20 years later, they're like, oh yeah, let me go and see this. They're like, wow, this is good.
It took me like probably I was like 5 months out when I actually sat and listened to The Listening. Like everybody was like, raving about The Listening when it dropped and shit like that, and I was busy creating. So by the time I got around to it to enjoy it on my own and shit like that, it was like, I guess it fit the time for me. But all the hype. Yeah, The Listening. I mean, that's how I am though, man. It's like I don't like it hurt for me to stop what I'm doing to catch something when it's hot. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like I want to catch it when ain't nobody talking about it. When I'm not hearing all that background noise about it and shit like that. And I'll cop it or I might just fucking stream it or whatever. I'll see how I feel about it.
I feel like that when people do that, when people do it now. Yeah.
I remember Dead Prez album, but like I said, when I was creating, I was like trying to build my own soundscape and shit. I was like, because I know Master Ace dropped the album around that same time. There was a lot of people dropped some projects. Soundbomb came out around that time.
Sleep on him too, like that motherfucker was.
Oh, Master Ace got some crazy joints.
I think
man.
It was like Sound Bombing 2 came out when that one came out. Yeah, around that time.
Yeah, Sound Bombing 2 was cold.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember all that shit because that's when Styles P really stood out from the Locks.
Oh yeah, I think his album was out around that time. 2002. Yeah. That was Matt joint.
Man, you know it because you know what I was on.
I remember that whole era, man. It's just like I said, for me, like we was doing shows and shit back then. I remember like me and Paul Vegas working with Walt at the time. This is when Paul Vega started working with Dead Prez a little bit. You know what I'm saying? He did some shit for them for one of their mixtapes and shit. And this when Nappy Roots first dropped. You know what I'm saying? That whole little era was kind of wild.
What's up with Paul Vegas? Because he hit me up a couple of times to do some music and then disappeared. Is he still like tied to the?
I know he ain't been with Circle 94 in years, but he got his own shit going on. He got his own. He got a product line that he been pushing a lot and stuff like that. I know he had stepped away from making music because he was pushing his product line, so he got back into the music maybe like last year or the year before.
Okay, because I think he said he was still tied to the military or something like that, or maybe I got it wrong.
Yeah, I think he's still in the Navy.
Yeah, and he was like, dude, he's like, man, I'm moving around so much, so I don't have time to really sit down and get anything together for you. I just told him, let me know when you ready. I think you kind of know what I do, so.
All right.
Yeah, music back at that from 80s to that early or that late mid 90s. It was some of the craziest music that came out. Even at that early 2000 era, you know, I enjoyed quite a bit. I enjoyed quite a bit of that shit.
Very innovative times, like really from the beginning to what you were saying to then, and then, you know, we got a couple artists that moved the needle in different ways. Like Kanye moved the needle in different ways musically, and
what changed all of that? What changed all of that, bro? Honestly, is the fact that Napster cracked the code and drew it, and the industry started hemorrhaging money. And when the industry started hemorrhaging money, they started streamlining what their artists can and can't put out. And artists stopped being like, you got a lot of creative artists, but they don't get the same shine because that's not what's marketable. So now the industry just playing catch up. You know what I'm saying? So artists
the
can't
internet
do what Kendrick
also
does.
gives freedom, because if you are a dog and you go out there and promote yourself, then fuck them labels, because we done already seen it a couple times. Like, I'm still disappointed in Drake for signing to a label, because I think he could have did it without a label. I still think
Kanye could have did it without a label.
And Kanye.
It's one of those things though, like a record label affords you their promotional budget. That's it. It's a fucking bank loan. And I think that's what got exposed in the 2000s. Like prior to that, people just looked at it as some glamour shit. They looked at it.
You got a deal. Yay, right.
But now, like what's being exposed is the fact that so many artists are in debt and they're like almost like in perpetual slave relationships with these labels because they didn't know going in that it was a trap. Some artists can benefit from it. Like if you really got the talent, you can eat well because you control the sound. But if you just an artist that gets signed to a label and all you got is a good pen or you play some keys and you really don't have like the charisma, you don't have the vision, and you don't got a good team of management and lawyers behind you, you're going to get jammed up and you're going to be stuck, you know what I'm saying, in a 360 deal.
And I think the other part of that was that you had two guys that I know of that were really talking about owning. I don't want a deal. I want partnerships. I don't want a deal. Master P
and Baby.
Rap-A-Lot Records. We don't want no record deals. We want partnerships. Here, I want 80%. Y'all take the 20. Everything else come to me. Y'all do all the promotion and the pushing and all that. And that's cool. Yep. And then later on, Dame jumped in. He was like, they can say what they want about me, but I know what I'm talking about. That's why I'm in these meetings. And that's why they don't want me in these meetings. So you saw those guys pushing to say, dude, we not looking to sign our artists to you guys. We are looking to get our shit pushed. That's all we want. We were looking to get the records out. We want to get the records heard. We don't want to get artists signed to you guys for these long-term deals and they getting fucked.
Now it's hard for partnerships to even occur with labels because these labels are already getting money from streaming apps because they already invested in those. So they don't really need, there's no benefit to partnering up with an artist unless the artist already has over 1 million, you know what I'm saying, streams or whatever.
Yeah, like you got to have some major clout for them now. And
I
think a lot of them, I think a lot of them own these streaming sites. And it's not to shit on nobody or say nothing, you know, but
I know they have they major shareholders with these streaming sites. I don't think that they can actually own a streaming service without it being a public
No, you can have a big percentage of it though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. Like you can have 5 different labels invested in one streaming service. That's how it is with Spotify. That's how it is with SoundCloud. You know what I'm saying? SoundCloud was independent for a minute, and Chance was literally trying to get them to sell to him and his team so they could kind of keep it independent. But they decided to go with, I think, Warner Brothers and something else. Which, I mean, I guess for longevity's sake is smart.
But eventually,
but it takes all the
turn into everything else. Over time, it always happened gradually, not at first. They let it be what it is at first because they want to keep the ecosystem of people. But eventually, it just turned into some bullshit.
Yeah. But I think we had talked about that years ago that this is what the next phase was. Google would end up grabbing up all this shit.
And what's crazy though is like the nasty part about it is that the industry knows that it's antiquated and it's struggling to try to stay alive. But what's feeding them is people who don't educate themselves on why the industry is not even necessary no more.
No, you should use the internet. You should use the internet to your benefit for the betterment of yourself. And that's where reading and finding out information and talking to the OGs, the Master P's.
That's why like a lot of these festivals, like you hear about like South by Southwest, you hear about Rolling Loud, you hear about Lollapalooza. All of these are label-based festivals. These are corporate festivals. These ain't fucking grassroots festivals like people like to imagine them to be. Interscope owns fucking South by Southwest. You know what I'm saying? They own that brand. Each one of these that's why these festivals got names that stand out because they brands. They ain't real festivals. They just fucking brands. They fucking showcases. That's all a fucking concert is a fucking showcase. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's commercial marketing. Selling tickets is just a perk. If they could sell merch and tickets, you know what I'm saying? That's a perk. But what they really want to do is sell the
venue.
Right.
Yeah,
and you know they want to put the bodies in place so they can say they capitalized on it.
Yep, they don't want those venues sitting out there not making no money while they're keeping these lights on. And you know they tied into all that, the clubs, the venues, the concert halls, all that. Like they're a part of all that shit. And they can pull a plug on you if they don't want you in there.
Shit, you see how they do, motherfuckers? They kick motherfuckers off the damn the festival list in a heartbeat, unless they're a big draw. Like when Kanye backed out of Coachella, they couldn't even figure out who to replace him with. They was gonna try to replace him with Weeknd, but Weeknd name ain't as big as Kanye. So they were like, fuck it, we're just gonna take that L.
No, they was trying to not pay him as much too, and he went with that. He was like,
he was like, yeah, because how do you not pay the biggest name on your fucking list?
That's what that was about.
Price. You got to pay him his price.
So that's what that was about.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't pay attention to it all. I be on my books. I be on this podcast. I be working on music or listening to beats. I'm so out of the loop on a lot of the stuff that's going on. I have no idea.
I think that what these young artists need to start paying more attention to is what the market value of what their art is, as opposed to just putting it all out there and just trying to be the hottest fucking song that gets streamed on TikTok. They got to figure out what the market value for their song is, because I've never seen so much evolution in the sound as I have in the last 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Over the course of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like the sound seems the same, but it's depth. Like if you go back and listen to a song that's like 10 years old, that shit sound, only thing that sounds similar maybe the trap.
808.
But everything else, like the actual aesthetic of the music, is like it's evolving into some old homogenous pop record type shit, even with like sample-based rappers. They're just taking loops. They're just looping some shit. No real creativity no more. Nobody really.
I can't even front. Even a lot of the stuff that I like, as far as like kind of like melodic stuff, is a lot of that. You know, just like, oh, we like this song, we're just gonna loop it. Whereas before they would be chopping the sample up, even from Kanye, who would do a loop, he would still add a lot to it. Now it's just like they just be rapping over the shit.
I know that Six and Smith and Sir Ethics. I know y'all big on that, like taking the sample, chopping it up, so can't nobody know what it is that you're actually doing and using.
A lot of people like they be wanting beats and shit, and they be like, "Can you just loop this part?" And I'm like, dude, that's pointless because you can't do nothing with it, and especially in modern times. You got you a song that you like to a beat that you like, but you can't do nothing with it. You can't market it. You can't sell it. You can't do shit to it. But you gonna just play it for your mama? Why would I waste my time for a song you can only play for your mama?
I was ahead of the game with not doing hooks. Motherfuckers wouldn't even listen to me. I'm like, yo, I ain't got to do no hook. Just let me rap for a minute and 30, minute and 40 seconds. Now all of a sudden, everybody's doing that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Gentlemen, are we?
Yeah, I was about to say I got a piss. So
y'all wanna pause it or y'all wanna keep going?
What time? It's almost it's 3 something. I'm gonna have to get on to some
it's 3 something. I gotta get on to some other stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Faux Prophets Podcast with the brothers for the link up where we sync up, think up, drink up, and stink up. My man Creed, is good to see you as always, but
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I appreciate you jumping on here with me, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. I think we lost 6 already. He ran off.
Yeah, you know, he had to go relieve his bladder and everything. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember the mission statement when you striving for greatness. God never put you in the driver's seat if it's taken.
Yes, sir.
You bitch you.